This morning I woke up, I went to the bathroom, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, "Self, today you're going to think freely. Today you are going to be a free thinker." That's right. And I walked out of the house and I went to work, and I asked myself, what the hell does that even mean? Then I realized, wait, maybe it was me asking that very question which demonstrated I was thinking freely, because I was questioning the idea itself of thinking freely. Granted, it didn't really give me any sort of answer or understanding about what it means to think freely, but at least I'm on the right path of something I don't really know about. But that's a good place to be. Better than... Okay, maybe not. But at least I was seeking out how to be a free thinker today. And I went to work, and I was interacting with all these people, and I thought to myself, maybe I can think freely about something. Okay, what am I going to think freely about? Okay, I'm going to think freely about how I should interact with this customer. I'm like, okay, I've thought about how I could interact with that customer in a different sort of way that didn't go along with the social norms and expectations. And I sat back and I felt pretty darn good about myself, knowing that I had a thought about doing something different than what is socially acceptable. I was a free thinker in that moment, thought freely. And then as I drove home, I dropped by a fast food place. I asked myself, wait, let's think freely about this moment. Do I really want fast food? Or am I going to fast food because of the commercials I saw last night? And I thought about that for a moment, and my thoughts were free, as far as I could tell. I mean, granted, my thinking about this was sort of contingent upon all my past experiences of whatever, but that didn't matter, because in that moment I sensed as though I was on the right path towards this understanding that I didn't have about thinking freely. And then Sunday rolled around, and I remembered, wait, I'm supposed to go to church today. I'm going to think freely about this for a moment. Okay, well, I'm going to think freely. I could not go to church. Oh, that's possible. I've certainly done that before, though. So I've not gone to church before, so I don't know how free of a thought that is, but maybe I can think freely about God. Okay, I'm going to think freely about God. God. Let's think about this, God. Either you're there or you're not there. Or other sort of options that I don't really know about or haven't really considered. I'm going to think freely about this for a moment. And the reason why I'm saying I'm going to think freely is because just to think about it doesn't mean that I'm freely thinking about it. You know what I mean? And it's one thing to have thoughts about something, to question something. It's another thing to question something freely. Well, at least that's what I've been told. I don't really understand that fully myself, but it sounds nice. It sounds really pretty. So I thought freely for a moment about God. And I thought freely for a moment about Christianity. I thought to myself, could Christianity be wrong? And this whole time I've been living a lie. And I thought, and I was thinking, okay, well, this isn't really anything new. I mean, I've asked that question before, but I never arrived at the sort of conclusion that the people who think differently than me have arrived at. I've never arrived at the conclusion of the people who frequently say they are free thinkers. Perhaps there's only one way to think about my Christianity in order for me to be a free thinker. In order for me to be thinking freely, I need to arrive at the same conclusion as those who say they are free thinkers. And the conclusion they arrived at was there is no God. Or they believe there is no God, or they lack a belief. They say it in so many different ways. It's whatever. But okay, so for me to think freely, I need to arrive at the same conclusion they have about Christianity, about God. Okay. That's starting to... So it's not really about thinking freely then, is it? It seems to be much more about arriving at the conclusion they have about a certain proposition. And when I haven't arrived at the conclusion they have regarding a certain proposition, that God is the case, for example, or Christianity is true, and since I haven't arrived at the conclusions they have, or the responses they have to those assertions, well, I guess I'm not thinking freely. Which is a bit odd, because then it doesn't sound like it's so much about thinking freely if it's about arriving at the conclusions they have and agreeing with them about those conclusions. Oh well, so much for wanting to be a free thinker.